Catus Maximus here again, this time with a review of a couple large Proto adjustable end wrenches. And I call it the large wrench review because 12 inches and smaller is usually the most common sizes that you'll see at a general hardware store. If somebody's pulling out, or you ask for if you have a large adjustable wrench, they're usually pulling out something like a 12-inch one, like that. And this would be considered a large adjustable wrench. So these are the 15 and the 18-inch versions, and it does just happen to do with from the tip to the handle. That's 15 inches long, and that would be 1.5 feet long. So 1 1/4, 1.5 feet. And they do have pretty large jaw openings. I believe this one goes up to 1 1/4, or excuse me, 1.5 or 1 3/8, where this one goes up to about 2 inches. Most people, you kind of think, well, what would I use a large wrench like this for? If you're a mechanic, then you're either working with large fasteners, with automotive situations. All the time there are camshafts with large hexes cast into them, so you can hold them to you, so you can attach and remove timing gears. Those hexes are often pretty large, as well as in various other situations, such as large air fittings, pipe fittings, things of that nature. We do have nice examples, one in chrome and one in carbon finish. Let's take a close look. I really like carbon or industrial finish tools because they don't show the dirt, and since they all end up kind of looking like this anyway. The second thing is technically they're a touch stronger because of something known as hydrogen embrittlement that occurs when you chrome plate tools. The jaws are, on these Protos, they're really nice. They're pretty darn tight. One thing that really sets the Proto does different than Crescent is, even though the Protos are still similar to the Crescent, you can see that they have a buttress thread. If we zoom in, it'll be a little easier. There you go. You can see the thread is sharp on one side and it has a taper on the back, so it's really strong but doesn't want to move around too much. They do have a spring-loaded adjustment knob, so it doesn't want to rattle around and have the jaw readjust itself on you. And the big difference that Proto has done is they use an oversized wheel, which is a little easier to turn, a little heavier duty, and then they make it a little wider so it has 4 threads on it. And there's a reason Proto does that. On a standard Crescent wrench, like here, what we have is a 3-start wheel, and it's a little bit shorter. One thing that Crescent does, if you could see here, is they have an arrow indicating that you want to turn the wrench this direction. The reason for that is when you have a fastener in the wrench, let's open it up, if you are turning the fastener in this direction, let's get a little zoom in there. Excuse me. When you're turning the wrench in this direction, the fastener's force is being delivered low on the jaw, which means that it wants to slide back and forth more, which means there's a lot more load being placed on the teeth and on the threads of the gear wheel. And that's how they get dinged up and dented, and you have this notchiness in the wheel. So Crescent just tells you to turn it in this direction, where the force is higher up on the moving jaw, so that it kind of goes downward. And when this jaw, when you're putting pressure on it, this jaw has a lot of friction against this top surface, and that's what helps keep it secure, keep this from denting, and prevents excessive loads from being placed on the wheel. So what Proto has done is try to mitigate that. They don't tell you what direction to run it at. They just put in an extra thick, extra heavy duty wheel and just say use the wrench however you want to use it. Although technically this is the same situation, you would still want to push the wrench in this direction towards the wheel side, I guess is how you would put it. Another thing I'll mention about the Protos is that we look around the wrench, like here you can see it really is, that's drilled really centered. The slot is cut really nice and centered, so you get a lot of the quality that you expect out of a tool that would be this expensive. Nice forged handle. I like the way they kept it narrow at the end, so it's still pretty easy to grip. But there is one thing I will mention, is this is a huge Proto 18-inch wrench. In this crescent wrench, which if we get down here we can see it's a lot smaller. Yet, when we look at the width of the beam, this 12-inch wrench is almost as wide, or is the same width, as the Proto's 18-inch. If we compare it to the 15-inch Proto, which is still a much larger wrench, we can see that the beam of the Proto is actually a little bit narrower than the Crescent. That's the one thing that really sets Crescents apart, is this wide beam. And they are much more comfortable to use. And so that's still why I'd recommend it, because that's what you're really pressing your hand on. And in most experiences, even though the Proto wheels are stronger, I've never really seen a wheel fail, except for on really cheap wrenches. And on a last note, since we're looking at big wrenches here, is there is 8 primary sizes of adjustable end wrenches. And we will get them laid out for you here. And there you have it. There's 8 primary sizes of adjustable wrenches, going from 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, and 24. There are some specialty ones. I once saw one that was a 36-inch adjustable wrench, which was a truly massive wrench. But I only saw online as a special order, and it was like $650 or something crazy. But these are the primary sizes. So you have basically 12 inches you'd be considered the middle ground, so the 12 inch is the big one, then you have smaller, and then any large or giant ones are going to be the 15, 18, and 24s. And of course they do have little 4 inchers. This is a Williams, and they're always cute when you have tiny little ones. And to give you a size comparison, there's a 4-inch one. This, just the head of that wrench, fits inside the wheel of the 24-inch. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Catus Maximus out.